What should we do, Lord? Tell us, what should we do? I think there were people who woke up in Sandy Hook this morning who were asking that question. What should we do? A family who owns a Christmas tree farm just a little bit outside of Sandy Hook had Christmas trees to sell. And the woman turned to her husband and said, "Should we really open today?" And there was a phone call from a parent, a father, saying, "We wanted to check and see if you're open. We really need to keep life going." Others in that small town hadn't had a chance to string up their lights yet and wondered, should we be stringing lights this morning? Should we head out to the mall and shop? Others probably had Christmas parties scheduled for tonight and wondered, should we go? I had a Christmas party last night up at the college at Lemoyne and didn't feel like going. Do you know what I'm talking about? We ask ourselves, what's the appropriate way to respond to something that's happened on such a scale it's almost incomprehensible? This is really the question, I think, that we're confronted with, distinct but related to the question of these disciples who seek answers from John the Baptist. How should we live? What should we do? In a sense, when we ponder this question, what should we do, somehow our belief should influence how we act and what we do. And to be honest, my friends, we believe something extraordinary, something incredible. As we ponder what should we do, we pause to take stock of what we believe as we prepare for this Christmas season. We believe, as we prepare for Christmas, the celebration of the incarnation of our God, God becoming flesh, God becoming human so that we might become like God. That this mystery we celebrate, the mystery of the incarnation, is somehow connected to the mystery of the cross. That Jesus would allow himself to submit to evil, to violence, suffering, and death, in order to reveal to us a power greater than death, that love triumphs over darkness and death. These two mysteries, the incarnation and the cross, are inseparable from one another. This is extraordinary, that we believe as Christians, love has a power greater than death. Do you believe this? Because if we don't, what we do here makes no sense. When we ponder then what this means for us, that we believe in a love more powerful than death, and we ponder what we should do, we are led, we're inspired to consider what to do and maybe what not to do. And we're led and inspired to consider how human and divine actions actually mingle as we consider our response to the tragedy yesterday morning. What should we do? We should gather in community. We should open our hearts in solidarity with those who are grieving. This is healthy and good. It is good to pause for a moment, maybe the space of a silent prayer, to remember those who have died, to be mindful of their parents and the scale of grief that is going to ripple through that community for years. It is good to do so, even though it's hard. It is good to gather in a spirit of solidarity, to comfort one another. And as that community in Sandy Hook experiences the solidarity not only of communities around Connecticut and this nation, but around the world, they are comforted. What should we not do? Isolate ourselves, hunker down, close down, numb ourselves. I do recommend moderating the amount of television we watch about this because it's so overwhelming. But we don't want to close down our hearts. When we see the haunted face of this young man, it was isolation, very likely, that was one of the factors that brought this terrible event to bear. What should we do? We should continue to affirm life and love. We should embrace our children. We should celebrate their innocence. We should not fall into despair or give in to fear and a culture of anxiety that leads us to endlessly seek more security, as if that's possible. We have to affirm life and love and live with a kind of confidence, not giving in to fear. What must we do? We must work against a culture of violence and death. We must take action and not give in to the passive acceptance of the kind of violence we see celebrated in entertainment and in games. We must work against a gun lobby that sees the right to bear arms as an absolute, and we have to really consider how absolute that or any other right is in the face of constant news about abuses of this power. We must not lose the preciousness of every human life, the dignity and worth of every human life, the preciousness and sacredness of life, and give in to a culture that has become more and more numbed because of our endless state of war. Do you know what I'm talking about? Our belief, my friends, inspires us as to how we must act, to what we must do and not do. This gospel of Jesus Christ, the gospel that you and I proclaim, is a gospel of life. It is a gospel of love that triumphs over darkness and hatred and death. And there is no darkness that will ever overcome it.